Sky Squad, we're back in the building. And I have a very special guest today. We have Miss Latisha Scott here from Love and Marriage Huntsville. I have been wanting to do this for quite some time, but I felt like I'm glad I'm doing it now that we've gotten to know you a bit better on the screen. And I feel like you have grown so much over the course of this franchise. Can you tell us, and I know we talked about this before, and Latisha does not like to talk about herself.
I don't. That's my problem. That's my problem. That's why I get so much heat. Because when Marsau put my resume out, people were like, man, I didn't know she did all those things. I don't like talking about myself. I feel like it's kind of bragging, and I don't like to do that. I just feel like you just do it. You just work hard and you do what you got to do. So,
Latisha, I'm like that, but I got to tell you something. It was one of the things that ended up leading me to pursuing my real estate license was finding out that you had your broker's license, I think, right?
Yes. Yep.
So it is, and I know a lot of times we, specifically as Black people, we tend to think like this, like we don't want to come off as bragging.
Right.
But sometimes the things that you are doing are an inspiration to other people, and that's why I really want you to talk about some of the things that you have going on.
Okay, let's get into it. So it is so funny because when Love and Marriage Huntsville started, you guys saw me in the very beginning talking to Marsau about, listen, I've been a stay-at-home mom for, it was around 5 years at that time. And I'm like, I need to do something else because for me, I'm so used to doing. But what I didn't say on there was, although I was a stay-at-home mom, I was also the property manager for our apartment complex. We had a 90-unit apartment complex and a 12-unit apartment complex and 4 rental homes. So I was the property manager for all of those properties. And I'm like, I need to get my real estate license because I want to learn more about the real estate game, not just the investment side, but also, the educational side of it as well. And so I got my real estate license. Then I enrolled in Auburn University in their master's in real estate development program. So that's when I earned my second master's because my first master's, I have an MBA in finance. So I got my second master's. And then after that, I started taking my broker's class and got my broker's license. And so now, hopefully they'll show this on the show, but I'm starting my own brokerage now at this point. And it's all about commercial real estate. Like I want to work with investors and business owners. So that's my focus. And I'm not pushing it really hard because my kids are still young. And at the end of the day, I'm a mom and that's my main priority. So I don't want to do too much out here in the working industry because my main focus is still my babies. But in the meantime, I wrote a journal on Enough. And in that, I wanted to incorporate some of the struggles that I dealt with growing up as one, being a brown-skinned girl. We deal with our skin and people telling us, oh, you're not pretty enough, or, oh my God, you're so pretty to be a brown girl. I used to hear that a lot growing up. And so I wrote this journal and it's called I'm Enough. And I just want to speak to young girls between the age group of 7th to 9th grade and just it's affirmation in there telling them that you're enough, you're beautiful. We have to look ourselves in the mirror and tell ourselves this all the time. So it's a lot of things, I have done and I'm still doing. I just believe in, working hard and making things happen. I write my goals down and then I go check them off.
So what I like about it is that you are about the execution and not necessarily the advertisement of it. And I get it because you just want to work. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like I relate to that. So I really wanted you to talk about that because I think it's so exciting that you have a lot of things going on that people don't always, hear about. And I'm glad that you went through the lineup today. Okay?
Thank you. You're welcome.
You talked about opening up your own brokerage. How will we see some of that this season?
Carlos, I mean, I hope so. I hope so. I do. Because it is hard work behind the scene. And I know our show is Love and Marriage. So they always tell us we're focusing more so on the relationship, more so than the business side. But I am hoping that you guys will really get a chance to see that because I honestly feel like I am the example of been married for, 16 years. We just celebrated our 16-year anniversary. And then you see the struggle of trying to balance marriage, family, in a business. So, and it's a struggle. So I really do hope you guys get a chance to see it.
I think that the show has done a great job of showing your narrative arc from exactly like you said, where you started to where you are now. And it's so interesting. And I think a lot of people love to see that growth in you.
Yeah.
I want to talk about initially when the show first started. It started about, I mean, from my perspective, it was like a group of Black friends who were like
Yeah.
trying to make some things happen in the real estate industry in Huntsville, Alabama. How do you think this show has changed over the course of the past 4 years?
I think that the drama of the whole marriage has really taken place over the business side and the community side of things. And even within the group, although me and Marsau and Kimmy Reeves, we're still doing, commercial real estate, residential real estate. But because of the drama and the whole infidelity that has taken place, that sells more. So
Mm.
that's why the show has focused so much more on that versus the real estate side of things.
Can I ask a question? And it
Sure.
just occurred to me. Do you blame that more on the audience or do you blame that more on Martell introducing that aspect not only for himself
Uh-huh.
but also for you as in your relationship?
I definitely would say a little, I think it's both. I think it's 50-50. I think at the time the host wanted to get the heat off of them, so they wanted to throw us into the midst of that. And then the audience was like, oh my God, yeah, he looks like this, she looks like that. They can't, you can't, it's probably true. So along with the fans and with, whatever the things that Martell was putting out, I think it both like captivated the audience and they wanted to know more and it got the heat off of them a little bit. So I think both.
Because I'm just taking myself back through your journey as I'm watching, and I remember seeing you on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, you and Melody also seemed like y'all seemed like sisters. You know what I'm saying? Like the three of y'all.
They like sisters.
Sorry. We have a pop
Listen,
They like sisters.
we got a schedule with him next. Okay.
Right. That's not mine. We're gonna schedule you next.
He's scared of me.
He said you're scared of him.
Oh no. We've been waiting on you, Marsau.
He said they're waiting for the season to get started, Marsau, before they bring you. I'm so sorry about that.
Absolutely not. That's your husband. He can jump in anytime. Speaking of Marsau, I hope he's still right there. I got a question for you. Do you ever feel like, because this is my opinion of him, I feel like Marsau, and you tell me if I'm right.
Okay.
I feel like Marsau is a jokester, and he does not mind trolling the audience. And sometimes I feel like him trolling the audience, while he's laughing, I feel like sometimes it puts you in the hot seat. Do you ever feel like that?
It does, because, and I tell him this all the time, like he don't watch reality TV. Like he just started watching when our show came out. So with Marsau, I know his personality. So in the very beginning, he'll say something. I'm like, whatever, Marsau, or I laugh it off. And then I get the name, oh, she's so naive, or she's so this. And I'm like, but he's joking. And you have to get to know his personality, a little bit better in order to get that from him. So I think some people or some fans, they're getting it now. But yeah, I brush him off all the time because I'm like, oh, he ain't for real.
When I got it? When he posted that photo from the boys' trip, I said, I know, you know what? This man is playing with us.
Yes. He likes it. I told him he should have been an attorney. He likes to debate. He likes to argue. He loves it. He will be in comments all day going back and forth with people. He loves it. I'm like, I don't have time for that.
So how do y'all like as a couple? And I ask this, as somebody who is just recently married.
Yeah.
How do y'all deal with the show and the rumors on a day-to-day basis? How does that work for Latisha and Marsau? Like when the cameras are not there, right?
Yeah.
Like how do you deal?
At first it was hard for me because it was just like so much. And I'm just not, I wasn't used to it. I wasn't used to all the negativity. I wasn't used to somebody just honestly like coming for your marriage, trying to destroy your marriage or break up a family. And it was hard for me, but Marsau, he's so good at rubbing it off and not letting it get to him. And so he'll talk to me about it like, babe, listen, these people don't know you. You can't take this stuff in. They're not telling the truth. And I'm like, whatever. I used to just side eye. And I used to always question myself, like, I trust my husband, but I was like, is it something I missed? Did I not see something? I was starting to question myself in my marriage too in the beginning. But then I had to realize, like, Tisha, you've never had these issues before. Like, people can't, I don't care how many times you tell me that I had to face something. If I haven't faced it, I haven't faced it. So I had to just sit back and step in my truth and, believe that the history that we have and we have a good foundation and just really go back and go into that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you just really have to truly trust your partner and trust what you guys have built over the years. And we have a strong foundation. And there's no perfect marriage, but some of the things that they was throwing at us, I haven't dealt with it. And I felt like it was a distraction because I really wanted to talk about, some of the things we really did have to overcome within our relationship and our marriage. But infidelity wasn't one of them,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm like, it just wasn't my case. And then once I started having people come to me, it was like, well, we've been offered money to come on the show and said we slept with your husband. I was like, oh my God, like this
Are you
is
serious?
Yeah, yeah. I was like, this is crazy. Like, people are really offering you money to come on this show and lie. So at that point, I was like, forget it. It's a lie. Like, now I don't believe anything. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Wow. That's deep.
Yeah. So that's what we had to deal with behind. Once the show is off, we have to deal with this type of stuff. So I'm like, I just didn't know people were so mean and so cruel in this world. So
Do you think that's the reason why one of my favorite people, Miss Wanda, is so protective of you?
I think she knows me. My mom knows me. She knows that I'm a good person. At the end of the day, like, I have a good heart. I'm just a good person. I believe the best in people. And she feels like, Tisha, you need to dig into this a little bit more, or you need to really pay attention to these things. This stuff ain't out here for nothing. Like, she's old school. And I'm like, Mom, I got book sense. I got street sense. Believe me, I know what's going on. But I'm not as argumentative as my mom, or I'm not just as aggressive as my mom. And so I think that's why. And people, what they have to realize is that, so my mom, I was raised by a single mom, and I have 6 aunties, and they're all very similar to my mother. So I was raised around it. Like, they don't take nothing off nobody. Any dude can just go. They don't care. So I had to change my mindset once I married Marsau, because I'm so used to being independent. And I'm like, I don't need you. I got this on my own. I went to college. I work hard to get a good job. I don't need a man, for those things. But I had to realize that in a relationship, it's give and take. So I had to learn how to really let that independent Tisha die down a little bit to become Marsau's wife. And so my mom, she's still like, I don't care. If somebody tell me something, I'm gonna pay attention to it. And Tisha, you need to go at him harder. So it's crazy. It's like a lose-lose situation, because even with her, they want me to go at my mom harder. And I'm just not that type of person.
I was going to ask you about that.
Mm-hmm.
in the trailer, we see cute, well, Funky Dineva, y'all
Yes.
sitting at the restaurant, and she's telling you that you're gonna have to like, either reel, Miss Wanda in or cut her out of the group. What do you feel like you need to do about it? Because some fans think that she speaks for you, and then some fans feel like, well, that's her mama. That's what she's supposed to do.
It is hard because that is my mom. I have talked to her about certain situations dealing with me and the Huntsville group of friends, because at the end of the day, these are my friends and I know how to handle them, and I've had the relationship with them. So I'm telling my mama, like, listen, let me handle this because I know how to handle these people here in Huntsville. But of course, she's Miss Wanda. I can tell her not to do it. She's still gonna do what she want to do. But I do try to hold my mom. Like, I tell her when she's right and when she's wrong. If it makes the TV, it makes it. If not, it doesn't. But I do tell her, that was wrong, Ma. You shouldn't have done that. But also, I think what you guys are going to see coming up, they're blaming her for a lot of stuff. And you got to watch how people try to, change the narrative of things, because some things she's just not responsible for, but some things she is. So we have to pay attention to these next 15 episodes that's coming up.
Oh, we get 15. You just spilled some tea for us.
Oh, sorry. It may be more. It's so much juice. It may be more.
Y'all show be like, I'm gonna tell you, it's nothing on TV like Love and Marriage Huntsville. It really isn't, because I think, to me, y'all are so relatable in so many ways. You know what I'm saying? We can see ourselves in the fact that y'all started off as friends. I think that's what makes a lot of the drama so much more personal, because we all understand relationships and we all have been through those same struggles.
Yeah.
There is something I do want to ask you about.
Okay.
You and your cousin Kiki.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. There's talk about the falling out between the two of you. I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
What I want to talk about is what happened as you guys were growing up, because you guys alluded to something that may have been as a result of maybe your parents creating some tension between you.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
Kiki has her truth and her side of things. Kiki and I, we really didn't start hanging out until she was in the 10th grade and I was in the 9th grade. So we didn't grow up together. We found out about each other in our early teen years. And at that time, I have a lot of boy cousins my age. So I was excited to have a girl cousin. And so, we instantly became close. We clicked. We was best friends. And so in college, we used to always get into it. It's like sisters. We fight, we fuss, but we make right back up. But as we've gotten older, it's just our life decisions has changed. And so we just eventually just stopped hanging out as much. Our interest was different. And so we just grew apart. And unfortunately, I don't know what Kiki dad has related to her, because Kiki dad and my mom, they're brothers and sisters. So we're first cousins. We have the same grandparents. But she alluded to jealousy and comparison. And I'm like, my family has never told me the things that she was alluding to on the show. They've never said that to me. So I'm not sure why she said all those things. And I've had that conversation with her as well. Matter of fact, we just talked about this 3 weeks ago. And I'm like, girl, they've never told me you have to be better than anybody. I've always worked hard. I'm the first in my family to go to college. So our upbringing was totally different. But I always had to work hard for everything I had and have. So unfortunately, why she said that, I don't know. Maybe that's her story. Maybe that's what her dad is telling her. But from my end, and I have a very close relationship with my aunts and uncles, never. They've never compared us. Never used the word jealousy. Now they'll talk about, family. Oh, your car, you got this car, you got that car. And maybe in her mind, she took that as them comparing us, but I never did. Because she was and I honestly looked up to her. And I told her that. I was always inspired by some of the things she used to do. One of my stories that I shared on the show is my communication. I've always struggled with my communication skills, and that within itself, hindered me from some things. But she's always been a great communicator. And so that's something I always inspired about her. And I always used to talk to her about that. And when her and I, we would talk, and I'm like, well, if I'm saying something incorrectly, please correct me. Let me know. And and she helped me through that process in college and in high school, writing my papers. Like, she was there for me during those times. So,
Mhm. I just think your relationship is so fascinating to me because well, first of all, on reality TV, family dynamics are always like the most interesting dynamics.
yeah.
How are you guys today?
um, we're not like, we're family, so there's always going to be love there for her, but we don't have a relationship. And it's so sad because our daughters are like best friends. They're the same age, and they was just at the birthday party this weekend together. But yeah, I can't rock with that. Like, my thing is, don't come on the show trying to hurt me when I have all these millions of people already coming at me already.
Right.
And so her thing is like, I want more screen time. I want to be a part of this, and that's fine. And you can want that, but I'm like, I brought you on the show first. I wanted to help, you with your speaking engagements and your speaking skills, and push that for you. I didn't know you wanted to come on the show to be messy. Had I known that, things would have been different. So hopefully this season coming up, she'll speak her truth.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you, there was this scene with you and Marsau in the car
hmm
this past weekend. Are those scenes difficult to film?
You know what? Our show is real. It's it for real. You're gonna get real conversations, and a lot of times with us, we forget the cameras are there. Like, you're gonna get real reaction.
It felt
So
like y'all did not know camp. Like, it felt
mhm,
like I was in the car with y'all.
yeah, that was real. Like, for real. I'm like, listen, my mom. You had just seen the scene with me and my mom. She was telling me all this stuff, and I'm like, I'm tired. I'm like, I'm tired. So I'm asking him, like, what's real? What really went down in Atlanta? What happened? So no, that was us. Yeah, those
That scene
tears
right
from
there, that
Marsau
was
was real. The tears from him was real. Like, he was like, I
no,
don't know.
I
Yeah, he was
felt
like, I
that.
don't know what I've done to these people. Why they coming so hard at me? Like, why? Why people want to destroy us? There's a song out. They hate our love. We was like, that's us. That's us. Like, I don't know why, but it's us on this show.
That was a very powerful scene. I will never forget that scene. It just felt so. I mean, it almost felt like a music video. I said it was like a Kiki
You
Wyatt
said
music
that,
video.
yeah. I was like, I can see that. Okay.
It was given 90s video. I was like, yes. I was like, oh, you said get in the car. I was like, okay, she mean business today.
And then the producers, with that music they was playing, I was like, oh, because we watching with you guys. So I'm looking like, oh my God.
I loved it. I loved it. I gotta ask you about
Okay.
you and Melody.
Okay.
Y'all used to be so close.
Yeah.
Do you think it was the show, or do you think it was what she was going through that ultimately led to the demise of your friendship? And where do you guys stand today?
Okay. I think I should give a little background first.
Okay.
So before the show, Mel and Martell, the Scotts, we was all really close. We hung out all the time, spending out of each other's house, got up in the morning, cooked breakfast, talk, everything. Then when the infidelity happened with Martell, was like 2 years before we started filming this show. We was there for Mel, the whole process, there for her, helping her through it, talking her out of doing crazy things like this social media stuff. We talked them out of that years ago, because that's what they wanted to. That was something Mel wanted to do back then. And then her and Martell made up, and we just didn't hear from them for maybe a year. I would say a year. We didn't hear from them until it was time for this show. They called us to a meeting. They was like, hey guys, we want to let y'all know we pitched a show idea to Carlos, and we told, I don't know if they said Carlos. They said they pitched the show idea, and we told them about the comeback group. And they was like, will y'all be willing to do an interview with them to talk about the comeback group? We was like, sure, fine, yeah. And so, now the rest is history. We got the show and everything. But prior to that, we had honestly stopped talking because at that time, she was saying that Martell blamed the guys for him stepping out. And so that within itself just put like a strain in our relationship. But it was no bad blood. It's like, you stop hanging out with people. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, when the show comes on, so you guys see that our relationship is still iffy, but we talk about it. And when I asked her, like, what happened? Why did we stop talking or whatever? And I forgot the response she had. But that's where all of that came from. And then on the show, you see, them talking about the infidelity, and then it just put a strain in our relationship because we honestly thought they was over it. When we got picked up on the show, we thought they was over everything. It happened and they had moved forward. So on the scenes with us like joking about it, we honestly didn't know how to handle the questions because we was also asked not to talk about that on the show by Mel and Martell. They asked us not to talk about it. It was like, fine, okay. So when the producers asked us about it, we're like, we didn't even know y'all knew. So in my scene with Marsau in the bedroom, and I'm like, what's going on with Martell? You need to talk to your boy. I'm going to talk to Mel. You talk to your boy. Let's figure out what's going on. Because I just didn't know how to approach it on the show because we was asked by them not to talk about it. But then we have the producer saying, this is reality TV. We know what's going on. You guys are going to talk about it.
Right.
So I think that within itself just really added to the fire of our relationship, I guess. And then the big coffee scene where, Martell was like, Marsau and Martell had that moment. He told Martell he slept with 20 women. And then at the coffee scene where you hear me and Mel talking about it, and I'm like, why is Martell lying? And she was like, well, how do you know it's a lie? And I'm like, well, first of all, I do know facts about your relationship that I haven't even said on TV. So if we don't speak the truth, if you're trying to put this out here about my husband, I'm going to speak facts and truth about y'all situation. And so when the whole BMW statement came out, that was it. That was the start of the disaster of our relationship. Yeah. And I didn't even think that was bad. I could have said way worse.
Is there any way to come back from it? Like, is there any glimmer of that this season?
I thought we had moved past it. Like at the finale of Mel's release of her video, all of us was there. We was having a good time. We took pictures together. Like, honestly, I thought we moved past it. But then at the reunion, we're talking at the reunion and Carlos asked me a question. I spoke my truth about it. But then after that, now I'm an enemy? When we come back to film this season, you're my enemy? I'm like, where did it even come from? Because you didn't like what I had to say at the reunion. Mel didn't like what I said at the reunion. So now, coming back this season, I'm her enemy. I don't know if she's needed a storyline. I don't know what it is because it just keeps going on. And I'm past it. Like, at the end of the day, we don't have to be friends. We're not friends. But, let's move forward. And we tried this season, I think there's something out already about the family trip that has taken place this season. And so you would see us pop up, with them on their family trip. And it was cordial. It was a cordial conversation. So hopefully at this point, we really just, hey girl, let's just be cordial and keep it moving. The friendship, no, I don't think we ever be friends again. But we can be co-workers. We can be cordial. We can be at dinner together and sit down and eat and laugh and hey girl, bye girl, and keep it moving.
Okay. Well, that's promising right there.
Yeah.
I want to ask one more question about, because I think that people love this relationship that you have with Kimmy.
Okay.
Are y'all back on like track? Because y'all was, Y'all was up and down a little
I
bit for a while.
know. It's with every friendship. You're gonna have some things that's gonna test your relationship, and it's how you handle the test determines the relationship.
That's true.
With Kimmy and I, there's love there. I love Kimmy. She loves me. We had a little moment, but there's love there. So you guys are going to see that play out.
Okay. Well, honestly, Latisha, I hope that you will come back and talk to us towards the end of the season.
Okay.
Because I know we're going to have more questions for you.
Yes. I'm gonna come back with Marsau.
Oh yeah, come on back with Marsau, because we got questions for him too, and I want to wait until we get into the season so I can really get into those questions.
Yes, I like it.
But I want to say thank you also for. I know doing reality TV is not easy, but you guys have inspired me on my real estate journey. So I just want to say thank you for that.
You're welcome. And that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, it's a show. It's for entertainment. But like, look at the business side of things. And this season, I think, is going to be really good to inspire individuals that's in real estate, because we're going to be talking about like seeking investors, like raising capital, crowdfunding. And I think that's something we don't know about in our community. So I'm excited that we're talking about that on the show this season. Get people's minds going like, oh, okay, I have a small business. I want to expand my business. I need to, seek funds. So how do I go by doing that? So that's another, something else that we're going to be adding on to the show. So you got a little bit of business in all the drama.
Okay. I am here for that. Latisha, can you tell the people where they can find everything Latisha Skye?
Yes. Okay. So follow me at Latisha M. Skye on social media. I mean, on IG and also Facebook. And also follow Black Cigar Lounge.
Hey.
And thank you guys so much for your support. But listen, get your chocolate in a bottle ready, or your Inez Martell's wine. September the 10th is going down. So yeah. Woo.
We will be placing our orders and ready for Saturday night. Listen,
yes.
Latisha, thank you. Skye Squad, thank you guys for watching, and we will catch you all in the next video.
Thank you. Thank you for your time, and thank you for having me on. I'm excited about this. So thank you.
Absolutely.